Nightclub bans patrons from staring at someone without prior verbal consent. The popular venue will employ a trained safety officer in a fluorescent vest to enforce a series of new policies. The consent cop. We'll look at this right after this very quick sponsor. Bearing. Studies have revealed just how our appearance affects our mental health. This is why I'm such a huge fan of multi-collagen. Multi-collagen works to restore youthfulness of the skin. It helps combat loose skin and wrinkles quicker and more efficiently than anything else I've ever tried. The reason it really works is by supercharging the skin's collagen intake. Collagen is the protein our skin needs to stay elastic. This product helps deliver the collagen directly to the skin's cells. Get up to 51% off this month by going to healthwithbear.com or visiting the link below. A Sydney nightclub has brought in new rules which bans patrons from staring at someone from afar without prior verbal consent. I mean, how does that work? I mean, imagine you're a chick, right, and you're standing there having a drink at the nightclub, and some bloke comes up and goes, "Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, m'lady. Do you verbally consent to me staring at you from afar?" Club 77, which by the way sounds like a strip club, Club 77, come on, announced the new rules on an Instagram post earlier this month in a bid to make the venue a safer space. Oh, it's so safe right now. I've got to give consent for you to stare at me from afar. From afar! And does this apply to chicks? What if a chick is staring at my dick bulge? Am I going to be like, "Hey security, she's staring at my dick bulge. My huge, massive dick bulge. I didn't want this when I put on these super duper tight pleather chaps. No, I didn't ask for any staring at my dick bulge. I don't care if they're crotchless. You cannot stare at my dick bulge in my crotchless pleather chaps unless you have previously asked for verbal consent. This is a safe space. The new policy stipulates that any interaction between patrons should have prior verbal consent, and that security would kick out any patron who made another guest feel uncomfortable and call the police. 911 or 000 if you're in Australia. Police, fire or ambulance. Police, please. What's the problem, miss? There's a man looking at me in a nightclub. Oh, we'll be right there, miss. This is an emergency. Just look out for the sirens and the blue and red lights. One of my mates, right, this is back in like 2004 or 5 or something, at a local nightclub we called Davies in Frankston, because Frankston's the place to be, broke into the kitchen, stripped naked, and cooked himself a chicken parmigiana. I mean, the bouncers weren't happy with it. They kicked him out. He got like kicked out holding his crotch so people wouldn't see his tiny little dick. That I understand, but they didn't call the cops. And now we're calling the cops on people for undue staring. That's why you go to a nightclub. You're checking sluts out. That's what you're doing, all right? Let's just call a spade a spade. The Darlinghurst nightclub added, a trained safety officer in a fluorescent vest will deal with any complaints or breach of the new policy. Predatory looking. If you're being harassed by another patron or receiving unwanted attention, please seek them out or tell our staff immediately, they said. This also applies if you are, for example, staring at someone from afar. If the attention you are giving someone is unwarranted, that is considered harassment. Yeah, and how is this going to be policed exactly? Like, imagine you're standing in the corner of the nightclub sipping on your beer and some big cock security guard comes up to you and goes, "Sir, you have been unwarrantedly staring at one of our patrons and she's feeling very extremely uncomfortable." You'd go, "No, I was looking at the picture frame on the wall just behind her." And he'd go, "Oh, okay, fair enough, sir. I'll ring the cops and cancel." Or, "I was looking at the selection of beers on the taps and the bottles of a liqueur on the shelf behind the bar. Not this dumb oversensitive slapper standing at the bar." And he'd be like, "Well, this little plump young woman thinks you were visually harassing her." And you'd be like, "I was visually harassing her, mate. The hot one." I mean, let's be real here. If I was going to non-consensually stare at someone, it'd be the hot one. The one with the push-up bra and the boob tube and the tramp stamp on her ass. And he'd be like, "Well, can you prove it, sir?" And you'd be like, "No, The club also explained that in recent months the establishment has been busier than ever, and unfortunately, due to this some problems have arisen. Unfortunately, this has also attracted some people who do not share our values and ethics when it comes to club culture, consent and harassment. In response to this, we've updated our safety and harassment policy, they said. We adopt a policy of always believe the report in cases of harassment and feeling unsafe. Oh, officer, he looked at me. He looked at me sexually. Anyway, the article goes on. This is bullshit. You get the point. I'm not reading the rest. What I want to know is who's going to put their hand up for that job. Okay, hiring security staff. Your job will be to monitor men staring at women sexually. Or not even sexually, just staring. If you think a woman feels unsafe, you must come report to management and then we will call the police and sort the problem out. What a f***ing world. What a world we live in. Everyone's gonna hate that. Imagine that. Excuse me, sir, I suspect you of inappropriate looking at people. You'd be like, f*** off. Yeah, you know what this is going to result in? Is he's going to be just like the club cock blocker. So like even if there was a chick who was like, oh, look, that guy's staring at me. This is cool. I think he's cute. The security guard's going to come up to the bloke and be like, excuse me, sir, have you had her verbal consent to do this kind of staring? And he's going to be like, no, I haven't, sir. Well, you need to get out. You're ejected from this club. And the chick's going to be like, f*** off, narc. He doesn't need my consent. He can stare all he wants. He can do whatever he wants to me. I just want the dick. Lame security guard. Anyway, I thought that was funny. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments section or at my super duper gay half step brother-in-law's Twitter account, bskills. That's with 3 L's. See you later. Recession!